Hello and welcome to Byte Basics. I'm Will Good. Today on Byte Basics, we're going to be looking at the Microsoft Word equation editor. So for most of you math and science teachers, this will be particularly useful. So in Word, they have a tool that will let you build equations that you can have for documents that you're creating. If it's a handout, if it's a tutorial document you're sending home, maybe it's a formula sheet, any of those things, it will look like the text that you see in textbooks. So it gives you a very nice looking equation when you use the equation editor. So let me show you how to use that. So if you look over here with me on my screen, the equation editor is under the Insert tab. If I go to Insert, over here on the right hand side, you'll see Equation. When I click on Insert Equation, it pops up a little button, a little box here that says Type Equation Here. And I have a bunch of different tools here across the top. So let's show you how to go through and create equations. So if I wanted to type something, I just click in the box and start typing. So if I'm doing a really simple equation, maybe I'm doing 2x plus 3, I can just use my keyboard and type that. Nothing special there. But where it comes in to be useful is when we're looking at things like exponents, fractions, a variety of other things, radicals, all of those kinds of tools is when this really will shine for you. So maybe 2x plus 3 is just a part of an equation. Maybe it is on the top of a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that 2x plus 3. I'm going to go up here to my fraction tool, click on fraction, and it asks me, how do you want to display that? Do I want it to be directly above, or do I want it to be on an angle? Kind of in line so that they're on the same line together. So you have several different options here on how you set that up. I'm going to go ahead and use the stacked fraction option here. And so now 2x plus 3 is on top, and I have a little box that I can click in to type below. So maybe this is x plus 5. So I can put something like that together, and I now have this nice little box that has my equation in it so far. Now, I can also continue my equation with more information. So at the end of this, I can go over here, put a space, hit a plus, and maybe I want to add more to this and make a more complex equation. So maybe I need an exponential function. So maybe I'm going to type in 4, and I want x, but I don't want 4x. I want 4 to the power of x. So I need x to be an exponent. So to do that, up here I have my little exponent script. If I click on this, I can do superscripting. I can do subscripting, I can do both superscripting and subscripting, and I can do scripts on the left-hand side of a particular thing. And they give me some examples down here below as to how you might see some of these used. So I'm going to go ahead and use the superscript option. And instead of 4x, let me just delete that away. Now that I have my superscript option, I can click in this first box, type 4, click in the little box above, type x, and now I have 4 to the power of x. So you have that as a potential option. All of these can be combined together. So maybe I'm going to take this whole thing and I need a radical. I'm going to put it as a square root. I can come up here to my radical option, click on radical, and I can do a square root. I can do a specific power of root. Then there is a square root with a degree here. So you have several different cubic roots, several different variations. I'm going to go ahead and do a square root sign there. And so it puts it over the entirety of the formula. Again, these things can be layered. So I could take the entire thing, do fraction, and put it over another power. So I'm getting a very complex equation at this point. You also have access to other tools. Let me go ahead and blank this out and we'll start a new fraction here. So I'm going to go back to Insert, New Equation, and we'll look at some of the other options here. We have integrals. So if I needed an integral sign and I needed the different elements attached to it, I have several different things for single, double, triple integrals. You have several different options that way. So I can add in integral signs for our calculus teachers. That's an option. Other large operators that are available, you can add in things like summation signs. And these summation signs let you put information for limits, for starting points, all of that into your summation. So I can create summations with exactly the elements I need. So I can put I equals 1 down here, and I'm going to go until 25 of 2x, or whatever you wanted to do to create a sum. So you can do summations, you can do bracketed functions. There's a lot of different ways that will let you place brackets. Again, for simple things, this doesn't seem very important, but if I wanted to put a bracket around the entire summation, I can select the entire thing, and it will make sure that the brackets fit exactly the shape and size of the equation I have so far. If I just wanted a bracket around 2x, the regular parentheses buttons on the keyboard would suffice. But if I go into my equation and do it here, when you put in things like 2x, let me go ahead and get rid of the external one there. Then if you decide later to come back and make some changes, like I wanted 2x actually to be a fraction, it will resize the brackets to fit whatever information goes into that particular area. So that's why these brackets are particularly useful. You have your trigonometric functions. You have different kinds of accenting marks if you need things to go over it, including things for rays and arrows and lines. It will also provide brackets that will grouping brackets. So if you need grouping brackets, you have those. Limit options, so if you're creating limits. Other specialty operators. So if I wanted something to be using one of these specialty operators here, I can use like yields in chemistry, where something yields something else. You have a variety of these specialty operators that you can utilize here. You also have buttons over here with symbols. So if I wanted like a congruency symbol, I can utilize these for things like the congruency symbol. If I wanted to go in here and make this something congruent, you can do those kinds of things as well. So you have a variety of those, and even lets you create matrices. So you have several different ways of coming in here and creating matrices, and it has some of them pre-made, like some basic identity matrices. So you have several of these options that you can use for creating just the particular equation you need to create an activity for your students. And of course, you can make more than one of them. So if I have one already made, I can do Insert, Equation, and go to a new spot on my document and have another equation there. So you can have multiple different equations wherever you might want in your document. So if I want it y equals 2/3 x, I can do those kinds of things. So you can put whatever kind of thing you want together for an equation, and it will look just like you might find in a textbook, instead of being more of a hodgepodge when we formatted ourselves using just line breaks and things of that nature. So you can come up with really fantastic equations. These can also be using examples that I showed last time on picture formatting. You can do things like capture a screenshot and crop out just that image to put it into any document you might want. So you might be able to do those kinds of things with it as well. So it may not have to stay in Word once you've made it. So you have a lot of ways you might be able to use these equations once you've created them. All right, so that's been the Microsoft Word Equation Editor. I hope that's useful to you. Thank you for joining me on Byte Basics today. Please follow us on our YouTube webpage. Thank you.